G'day and welcome to another video with Better Pics. Hope this finds you all well. Today we're going to be talking about the Camera Raw filter that's available through Photoshop. Now, while you can open many different types of files through Bridge directly into Adobe Camera Raw, there are some real major advantages to doing that through Photoshop. And the main advantage is that you can actually apply that filter to your images. So, for example, if you're working with the JPEG, non-destructively. So rather than any changes that you make being baked into the image, you're able to come back and make those adjustments after the fact once you've saved the image. Let's have a look at how that works. So you can see we have a drone image in Adobe Photoshop at the moment. What we're going to do is head up to Filter first, and we're going to convert to Smart Filters. Now, as Adobe will tell us, this allows us to enable re-editable smart filters. The selected layer will be converted into a smart object. So this just basically allows us to save those edits and revisit those edits so that they're not fully baked into the image. And this is a great thing because, you know, you might be working on an image for a while, or you want to come back to it, check it, make some further adjustments without having those edits locked in and unable to be readjusted after the fact. So a really good start to that. Let's go back up to Filter, and we're going to go to Camera Raw Filter. The shortcut is Shift Control A. And we'll head into Camera Raw, as you can see. Now, the first thing that you might notice is that there are some tools that aren't available within the Adobe Camera Raw filter. So, and that's worth definitely mentioning. So some of the filters are the Denoise tool, the Super Resolution tool, the Raw Details tool, the Crop tool, and the Rotate tools. Now, crop and rotate, you can obviously make those adjustments within Photoshop, no problem at all. But the Raw Details, Super Resolution, and Denoise tool are worth noting. If that is the case that you need to use or would like to use those tools, then you need to get your image into Photoshop in a more into Adobe Camera Raw in a more conventional way, which is usually through Adobe Bridge. All right, so you will notice that those tools are missing. But otherwise, you know, there's a bunch of other tools that are available. So obviously exposure, or your color adjustments, your effects, curves, color mixer, color grading, detail, optics, lens blur, and calibration. So still all of those wonderful tools available to be able to make adjustments to your image. And we're going to do that right now. We'll just make some interesting adjustments, stuff that we may not necessarily always do. But let's just make some of those, and we're going to hit OK. Now, when we see the image, or when we come back to Photoshop, you'll see that on the Layers panel, there's now a Smart Filters and a Camera Raw filter there. So that means that we can simply go back into Camera Raw and make further adjustments with the original edits still viewable. So if I just double click on that Camera Raw filter, you can see we'll head back into Camera Raw, and those original adjustments that I made are still there. So that's a really good thing. So we have that flexibility to be able to continue working with that image and make further adjustments if we want to. So then if we want to save this image so that we can come back to it later but keep those adjustments intact and accessible, we simply need to just save as a PSD. And this allows us to come back to those edits at a later time if we want to. So we're going to save that image. Yes, and then we'll close it down. As you can see, we now have that PSD there. If we double click on that PSD, the image is going to open back up into Photoshop, and we still have that Camera Raw filter in place, and we can go straight back into Adobe Camera Raw with all of our edits still in place, and we can make further adjustments as we see fit. So as you can see, not only is this non-destructive, you're able to save the image and then come back to the image later and continue on editing if it's not quite where you want it to be yet. The Camera Raw filter out of Photoshop really is a great tool. Just keep in mind that you do have some of those tools that aren't available that you would normally see within Adobe Camera Raw. So give it a go, see if it's a workflow that works for you, and let us know how you go with your results. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you've enjoyed the video. As always, questions are welcome in the comments below. We look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.